Hey guys, this is Jacques from Makulu Linux and welcome to another video. So today we're going to take a look at Core, and then I also have quite a bit of news. So exciting video ahead. Please stick with me, and let's first start off with Core, because I know some guys have been following the progress on Core, but not everybody has. So I'm just going to quickly break it down to you guys. The old Core was, to put it mildly, we build on different bases. We started building on, not started, but we have an old XFCE base that we update every year, and on this base we build Core and Flash. We also have a Cinnamon base that we update yearly, and on that base we build Lindos. And recently with Shift, we've made a new GNOME base. And Shift is built on this base. Now, out of all three bases, the GNOME base right now is running so well. Wow, I've just been blown away by what we've been able to achieve building this base. Now, I know a lot of guys probably don't really like GNOME, and for good reason, because number one, it uses a lot of RAM and resources. Number two, it's an awkward desktop environment, and very laggy. It's not exactly always smooth on older hardware, and thus most people dislike GNOME. But that is front end. We are using back end, not the front end. So we just build on the back end of GNOME. The front end we design ourselves. Okay, so keep that in mind. When we say GNOME base, we don't mean we're using a GNOME front-end GUI. We are only using the back end. We're forking the framework of GNOME because we like the features. We like the plugins, we like the online accounts, we like the screen sharing features, we like the accessibility options, universal options. There's just a lot of features that come out of the box with GNOME pre-enabled that we don't have to configure and do and so forth. And especially the plugin system, the extension system is amazing. Anyway, with that being said, the new Core is designed around on the GNOME, our new GNOME base. Okay, so this is what you're seeing here. Now, with the XFCE, we had the sidebar over here on the right, and that was because we used the XFCE panel as a sidebar. With the GNOME, you have obviously the top panel, which you can move to the top, to the bottom. You can move it left or right as well, so you can put it on the side. However, I felt it's better on top, because the fact that the clock is right there. Remember, we didn't have a clock on the little side panel of the old Core, so you didn't have to move your eyes down to the bottom of the screen unless you actually wanted to access some system icon. Whereas with this top panel, I find myself often looking at the clock. And what I mean by that is, right now you can see the desktop clock, but if you have something open and the desktop clock isn't so visible, your eyes are going to go there. They're going to go right there. If you can access the calendar as well, it's there. So I find it's much easier with the panel being on the top. With that being said, I also made the panel very thin. It's a tiny little panel. It does not take a lot of space. You also have the extension system, which drop down. Now, right now, we don't have lots of extensions enabled. We just have workspace indicator, and then we have our own custom extension we designed. And we got the, this extension for plugins, like plugging in your hard drive and so forth. And we got the accessibility options, and then you got your system options there. So we don't really have a lot of extensions there. However, if you go to the extension website, there are thousands there, and you can add anything. You can add like a website or something that has a notification that pops down. You can add a screencast that pops down. You can have terminals pop down. You can have VPNs and network monitors and system monitors, and there's all kinds of plugins that you can add here very easily just by going to the GNOME extension website and enabling anything that you see there, which means it is better for the panel to be on top, because once users start installing their custom extensions and they have like another 5 or 10 extensions up here, it's going to be so much better having them pop down while you have an open window. For example, let's say you have your file manager open and you want to just access quickly to your VPN or a terminal or whatever. You can just pop it down. You don't have to then mouse down to the bottom corner and start popping things out here. It's an awkward thing that will cover the dock. You didn't have that in the XFCE build. You didn't have things popping out of the panel, so you didn't have anything that would block the dock, and so it made sense for the panel to be on the side at the bottom, out of the way. But with this layout, it is much better for it to be on top. So I'm just telling you why we put the panel on the top and not on the side. It just makes so much more sense. Okay, that being said, the new core is almost an identical copy of the old core. There are some changes. Number one, you saw that the panel is on top, but it doesn't always stay on top, and we'll get to that in a bit. We also have the bottom dock, which looks just much like the old bottom dock on the old XFCE, so I kept a lot of it standard. You have a tri-menu system, the same as the old core. 3 menus, tri-menu. You had the pie menu, you had the full screen menu, and you had the traditional menu. We still have all of those in this build. They may have changed a little bit, but it's still there. You now have, instead of moving your mouse into the top and bottom corners and holding it there for a few seconds, a lot of people didn't seem to like that. I've taken a little bit of a different approach. On the bottom dock now, you have a menu on each side. So you got the pie menu on the left, and you got the full screen menu on the right. So if we click on pie menu, it pops up the pie menu, the same as before. Okay, so you can click on the pie menu there, and then you can access parts of the menu just by clicking on those little circles. Okay, so just like before. So the pie menu is in the bottom left of the dock. The full screen menu is in the bottom right. So access pie menu, click on it on the bottom left. Access full screen menu, click on it on the bottom right. Now the full screen menu is actually the default GNOME full screen overlay menu, which means it has all of those nice functions that the GNOME or full screen GNOME menu has. It's the same one that Ubuntu uses, where you can add stuff to favorites, show details. Adding to favorites will put it into the actual dock. So if you want to put stuff in the dock, you can either drag it, or you can just choose add to favorites. Right click, add to favorites, right click, remove from favorites. Very, very easy, very convenient. Okay, so those are the two main menus, the pie menu and the full screen menu. You also have the traditional menu, which is this little square here in the top corner. So if you click on that, that will pop down a very simple menu that is sort of more the traditional menu. But once again, you also have the features to add, pin, show, details, and so forth. Okay, so this is, as you can see, it's the ARC menu, but it's a very simple looking menu that really fits with the theme well. So you can still have your traditional menu, which is in the top here, and then you have the pie menu over there, and you have your full screen menu over there. So it depends which type of guy you are. There are people that like the pie menu. I've had people email me saying they like that menu. I'm guessing there will also be people that like the full screen menu, because there are those guys that are used to using Ubuntu and GNOME and so forth, so they will like this menu. And then of course there are also a large portion of people that will like the traditional menu because they've been using a Linux a long time, and this is the kind of menu that they're used to. So we cater to all three crowds. Because you might be thinking, why do you put 3 menus? Why not just put 1 menu? Well, because there are different people with different choices and different tastes and different styles. You might like one menu, but somebody else might like another. And it's always nice to have all 3. You might even be one of those people that end up using all 3 because you like all 3. And also do keep in mind that when you do have something like a file manager open, you can pull your mouse down and access the menu, or you can just go straight here and access a menu. So some people might just feel more comfortable just doing that. Other people might be more comfortable doing that. So it just really depends on what type of person you are. We still use Nemo. As you can see, Nemo is still being used. And we still use the same themes that we used in the old core, mostly. The window theme, the window borders have changed because of GNOME uses the client-side theming, which is great because we've been working a lot on our client-side theming packs, and they are ready. As you can see, they look nice, very bright on the blacks, very bright on the whites. They're popping. I mean, they like literally pop. They look good. The buttons, the colorful buttons, the nice little animations and so forth. So this all just gels well. It just it looks good. Of course, it being GNOME, you have access to the system settings, which is loaded with options. I mean, lots and lots of options. Okay, so to sum that up, the desktop really hasn't changed much. A couple of things have moved around. The panels moved from the side to the top. The traditional menu, which was in the bottom when you had to move your mouse into the bottom corner and hold it there, has now just moved into the top. It's just a little drop down menu. You just simply click on it, much easier to access. And then the Pi menu is still on the same place. It just click it. It used to be on the bottom dock. It's still on the bottom dock, right where it was. The full screen menu, which used to be in the top corner if you held your mouse there, has just simply moved to the bottom dock on the other side. Okay, so things have moved around a little bit, but literally you still have the same setup, basically the same experience. Okay, so that being said, we also have the desktop clock. The Conky clock is still there. You can still right click and choose desktop clock and access that, and you still have all the same options: analog, digital, black, white, 12, 24 hours, left, right, hourly, daily, and so forth. Weather options you can enable. You've got additional options. You can refresh the clock. So you still have a lot of control over your desktop clock, which is simply just to right click and choose desktop clock. You can access a lot of the system stuff by choosing access by right clicking on the desktop. Okay, you still have the background manager. Right click, choose desktop backgrounds, and it will still open a nice little wallpaper selector, which still has all of the same options. You've got still most of the same wallpaper. There are a couple of new ones, but yeah, you can still easily change wallpaper. So desktop background, desktop clock, just simply access by right clicking. You also have the theme manager, which is still very much the same, except it's got a couple of extra options with mouse cursors. You find some really strange and some nice ones in here as well. So you can click away, choose your mouse cursor. It will save on reboot. So really easy to access something like changing mouse cursors, and you can literally see what's on the screen. You know, little previews. Of course, you still have the theme color variants, including 2 dark themes as well, so you can just simply change the color of the theme, and that's so easy. You just right click the desktop and choose themes, and then just change. So as you can see, Core has very easy access to everything. Right click on your desktop, you have access to a lot of the back-end aesthetics part of the OS. Okay, and then in Shift, we created what we call the layout manager, which would allow us to create various different desktop environments and then just one click between them, sort of quickly switch between them. And I brought that concept over to Core. Okay, so you can access that simply by right clicking and choose layout manager on your right click menu. You can also find it in this little drop down menu. There's layout manager. So there's a little extension there with layout manager over there. Or you can just simply right click here and choose layout manager. Okay, and that will pop up a little box with 4 different layouts, and basically this moves your dock to a desired place, to a desired spot. For example, this is the current default one, because you can see the dock is at the bottom, the panel is on the top. There's the dock, there's the panel, so you can see that. But you can move the dock to the top by simply clicking this little picture here. So you click there, and as you can see, the dock is on top now, the panel's at the bottom, and the clock has moved over. So the clock that was here has moved to that side. I actually just need to update this little picture. No big deal, I'll do that. But the clock has moved over. And the reason for that was I felt that with a clock over here taking up this space, it was a little awkward, and it was it almost seemed like it was cutting off the dock. And with people with smaller displays, it might actually end up doing that. And whereas the clock stops over here, short of the dock, and even if you change to a much smaller screen resolution, it might come here, but it doesn't actually overlap with the clock. So the clock it seemed a better idea to put the clock on the left. So if you choose the dock at the bottom, as you can see, it changes so quickly. Just the clock, obviously, Conky takes a few seconds to load, but it changes so quickly. So if you choose the bottom dock, it puts a dock at the bottom, the panel at the top, and the clock on the right. But if you choose the dock on the top, the clock moves to the left and the panel moves to the bottom. Right. If you prefer a top dock, great. One click and that's it. Now you can use it. You still have the Pi menu there. You still have the overview menu over there, and your traditional menu now moves to the bottom. Okay, so some people might actually like this layout. However, we added 2 more. You can move the panel to the left. Now, If you move the panel to the left, the clock moves to the right, and the dock moves to the panel moves. The dock moves to the left, the clock moves to the right, and the panel moves to the top. Now you have almost a similar to Unity experience, I guess. Although the dock is not a full length dock, it's still everything is on the left the same way Unity is. So you have a drop down menu over there, you have the pie menu over there, you have the full screen overlay menu over there. The reason I say Unity is because most people that used Unity or use the GNOME or use Ubuntu, they're used to moving their mouse to the left when opening things like folders or apps and stuff. So they may be comfortable with the dock being on the left. And of course the dock is auto hide in full screen. It won't auto hide when you actually have a floating window, but when you move something full screen, the dock will auto hide. And of course you can just bring it back again with your mouse. So people might actually like it on that side. And then of course you can also put the dock on the right. And if you put the dock on the right, the clock moves to the left, the panel stays at the top. So once again, now you have the dock on the right, and it functions much like the dock anywhere else. It's just that the dock is on the right, and if you move your mouse to the right, it pops back out again if you're in full screen. So once again, we cater to people that like all types of layouts, okay? And you can switch between them with a click of a button instantly. You don't have to go in and configure this and move this and then resize this, because you know, when you move something, it changes everything. You move the dock to the top, it interferes with the clock, and then the panel you now need to move to the bottom, but then things get spaced weirdly and so forth. And so when you think that moving something is easy, but no, it's not. You have to do a lot of configuration and resize things and so forth. We do this process for you automatically. Really, it's instant. Right click, choose Layout Manager, and you can simply just click one button, the dock is at the top. One button, the dock is at the bottom. One button, the dock is on the left. One click and the button is dock is on the right. So just one click and everything gets configured for you. Okay, so that's nice. I thought that was a nice, really nice touch. And this would be so difficult to do on our old XFCE base. Not impossible, but it would be difficult and wouldn't be as smooth a process, I think. So this is one of the nice things about moving core to the GNOME base, was that things like this is so much easier for me to do. Okay, so just to sum that up, desktop background, desktop clock, and layout manager, as well as themes, can all be accessed straight from the right click menu. We use, of course, Nemo, so you have all the open as root and all the standard bells and whistles that you had in the old core with Nemo. That still exists with the new core. If we take a look here at the little drop-down extension that we created, you have an on-screen keyboard that you can use as well, and this you can resize it, of course, to whatever size you want. You can move it wherever you want it on the screen, and then just click it away again. So if you want, you can use the actual on-screen keyboard that comes with this sort of GNOME framework. Or you can just use the onboard one, which is easily just click, and once you've resized it, it will stay that size, and then click it away. So that's nice. The reason I put that there was for touch screens or tablets. You know, in Linux, the on-screen keyboard, when you click this on-screen keyboard, it does work pretty well, but you will sometimes open the odd website where it will glitch, and then, you know, it doesn't always pop up. And if that's the case, you can just use the on-screen one here, and or some people might not like the default GNOME one, and you can just use the custom on-screen keyboard, which is also nice. I've also added, there's something else I want to say, Core is now fully compatible with tablets and touch screens. Now the previous Core was sort of semi-compatible. It worked with touch screens, but it did not work very well with tablets, where this one does. It works great with tablets. And the reason I added this rotate option, or added the rotate options into this little plugin over here, was most of the plugins should auto rotate, but they don't all do that. Some of these custom Chinese tablets, obviously maybe because they sort of unrecognized models or whatever, they don't auto rotate. And I actually have one of those tablets. Great little tablet, but it doesn't auto rotate. And that's why I added this, so I can just manually quickly rotate. On the tablet, I would obviously just touch the plugin and then touch whichever rotation I want, and done. it rotates the tablet. So great. So I added that in there just as an extra little compatibility for anybody using tablets. Trust me, this will save you lots and lots of headaches and stuff, just having that little auto rotate in there. And of course, people that use touch screens, they might want to rotate the screen, you know. So that's portrait is that one there, and normal is, of course, no, normal is would be portrait on a tablet, and right would be landscape on the tablet. Either way, one or the other. And then of course the other thing is full screen gestures. Now this we did add into the old core, so I wanted to make sure that it was in the new core as well. So if we open up configure gestures here, you can see there's a whole lot of gestures. Home, which is opens Nemo, Terminal, Synaptic Package Manager, Google Chrome, LeafPad, Close, Refresh, Quit, Scroll, Top, Bottom, Maximize, Minimize, Wallpaper Select, Update Manager, Menu, Software Center. I mean, you can add actions here. So you can add commands, actions, strokes. You can configure this as just to do pretty much almost anything. Okay, so you can pre-configure your own. We've pre-configured quite a bit for you, but you can easily record a new stroke. For example, because I'm left-handed, I slant everything to the left. If you're right-handed and you slant, for example, your H to the right, you can re-record the stroke. You don't have to use the current gestures, the current strokes. But let's enable this for a second so we can have a look at that. So for example, if I want to open LeafPad and I've now enabled gestures, I can just draw an L. L would open LeafPad. If I want to open a terminal, I can just just make an X and terminal opens. Okay, so upside down X and I'm in a terminal. H would open up Nemo. Okay, and L of course LeafPad. And so you can go on. You can open up software centers, package managers a P, as you can see there. Put in the password and that will open up a package manager. Just hold on, this is the first time I'm loading it since I installed this on a virtual machine. There we go. So very easy to sort of navigate your operating system with gestures. Now gestures you can use with mouse strokes, or you can just use your finger to scroll the screen, which is really nice because if you have a tablet or you have a full screen, like if you're used to touching the screen, or you have like a terminal with a screen or whatever, you can just swipe your finger and you can navigate your whole operating system. Back, forward, up, down, scroll, close, open, previous tab, next tab, open up apps, menus, pretty much everything just by dragging your finger across the screen. Works great for tablets, works great for touch screens. If you're a guy that loves to work on your mouse, you don't like touching the keyboard much, you can even use your mouse strokes. It works great for that too. So that is a nice addition as well. Full screen gestures working out of the box on Makulu Linux core. So some nice stuff. And then of course I don't want to cover all of the basics that come with backend GNOME. Most people should know what backend GNOME is. But you also have access to your online accounts like Google out of the box, Facebook out of the box, Microsoft Exchange, some cloud options. This is all out of the box. Okay, so you can just sign in there. Screen sharing works out of the box. A lot of stuff works out of the box. And if we go down to this menu here, we also have things like Warpinator, which was Warpinator, which was in the old core. It's still there. There's not much pre-installed. We do have Hypnotics pre-installed, which is a nice little live TV viewer. Great for viewing TV. Actually, let's run that maybe. Let that open in the background. There we go. 276 TV channels. Let's choose USA. Okay. It's English USA. Let's resize this a little bigger. And let's go to, I'm not a big fan of CNN, but yeah, why not? Let's just open CNN. Okay, so yeah, you can just simply browse the menu and you'll see there's mostly back-end stuff installed. Now my internet's not the best in the world, guys. I'm in Vietnam, so this is probably going to take a while to load. Once it loads, so it should play fine. Anyway, so we have a lot of back-end. There we go, it's playing. So we have a lot of back-end stuff here. Okay, actually, let me close that and just show this off. Now, As you can
This
see,
is CNN Newsroom live around the world from the CNN Center in Atlanta.
It
Hello again, I'm
plays
John
pretty
Bors.
fine. You can
Coming
also
up this
full
hour,
screen it.
northern Gaza bombarded
And
by Israeli artillery
there we go.
and tanks firing
full
from just
screen.
across the border, while thousands of Israeli
Escape.
troops are called up
Minimize.
ahead of a possible
If you want
ground
to,
invasion.
the panel should auto
Now
move
I'm
away
hearing
as well.
the siren for
And you just go,
incoming.
I can't really speak when somebody else is speaking. Okay, so Hypnotics Player is pre-installed, pre-configured out of the box, which is nice. I thought that was something that we should include. I did not include Office Suite or much of anything else really. We may add a couple more items, but I don't think so. I think we're just going to pretty much leave it for the user to install. You know, once I install something, somebody's going to like it and somebody else is going to dislike it. It's better just to let the user pre-install his own stuff. You can simply just go down to the Software Center, open it, and you've got tons and tons and tons of stuff that you can install. I mean, there are, I think there's more than 100,000 apps on here. I mean, we've got Flat Hub is on here, Snaps is on here. So you have access to thousands, I mean hundreds of thousands of apps and stuff there. Very, very easy to install. But yeah, so out of the box, it's an amazing OS. It's not difficult to use. It's actually very easy. It runs so smooth. I'm inside a virtual machine. Right? So you've been watching everything inside a virtual machine. It's got great wallpaper, a really nice layout. You can change styles up, down, left, right, wherever you want it. You got access to 3 beautiful menus, access to a lot of software pre-configured, drivers pre-configured. Nice desktop clock. I mean, it's a really nice operating system. If you like docks, if you prefer like the whole Mac style dock, then this is the operating system for you, and you can move it anywhere you want. And of course, this being a dock extension, you can even edit the dock, make it bigger, smaller, wider, narrower. I mean, you can even theme it. So there's lots of options here that are very flexible that you can do. So that's core, basically. I don't want to spoil too much. I just sort of wanted to go over a lot of the basics so you can understand the power of this OS. There's so much here. And it's a really nice OS and it works really well. No bugs, no glitches. So the guys have been testing it. Whatever issues there are, they've been minor. I've been fixing, and I'll continue to fix anything that anybody reports. So yeah, that is core. Now I know I've been making this video for quite a bit now, but I really wanted to show you guys the power of this OS and what it's all about. So that's core in a nutshell, right? And it's going live in about, say, two to 3 weeks. I think more borderlining on 2, but 2 to 3 weeks. So, which is great. And that's the first part of the news. The second piece of news I have is that I will be making a shift. Not a shift, a Flash OS. Okay, I'm already working on that. And I will be remaking another Windows as well. And of course, we're still developing on Shift. That's quite far in development, and I want to make a new video on that soon as well. But you're going to see Core come out in the next few weeks. Then you're going to see Flash come out. Then you're going to see another Windows come out, and you're going to see a Shift come out. So there's 4 releases up and coming. I'm working on all 4. And all 4 are going to be on our new GNOME base. It's all going to use this base, which means we're going to do away with Cinnamon and we're going to do away with XFCE. Okay, so that's good news for some, I guess. Great news for most. And trust me, it's all going to run really beautifully. Anyway, so that's my news for today. The last piece of news, and probably the most important, is that I'm going to be sending out early builds in the next week or so, maybe next week sometime. I will be sending out early builds to anybody who's donated to the project, like in the last month or so. So if you've donated to the project, you'll get an early build. You'll get it like a week, maybe a week and a half before the rest of the world, maybe even 2 weeks before the rest of the world. Just depends when exactly we release. Do we release on the last week of this month or the first week of next month? I haven't quite decided, but it's somewhere around that sort of week and a half period. We are on track to release Core then. So you will get it about a week to a week and a half before the rest of the world if you donate to the project. And the reason I'm doing that is as an incentive, because once again, Vietnam is on lockdown, which means I'm not getting a salary now. I don't get a salary this month. I don't get a salary next month. And if we go into another month lockdown, then I don't get a salary the third month. For every, like, even if we only lock down for 2 months, I still have to work a third month before I get a salary, which means it's, even if we lock down 2 months, it's 3 months until my next salary, right? So I'm having to dig into my savings once again. And trust me, it's not that big. So already I'm stressing about how I'm going to be paying for all 3 of our repo boxes. There's a lot of licensing and stuff that we pay yearly that's going to be due very soon. And so I'm a little worried about finances at this point in time. I think I can manage it. I might just have to go a few days without eating here and there, but I think I can manage the finances. However, I thought it might just help give a nice incentive for people to maybe donate to the project, help out with the finances and take some of that load off my shoulders. So if you want to donate in the next week and a half or so and secure your early copy of Core, then do so. I'll put a link down below. If you have donated, you'll automatically get a copy of Core. If you are a Patreon and you donate monthly to the project, you will also get a copy of Core, obviously early. That's a given. So Patreon members will get a copy early, and anybody that donates to the project will get a copy of Core early, like a week and a half before the rest of the world. And trust me, you want this. It is nice. It runs well. I'm running inside a virtual machine. Okay? You run this on real hardware, it will fly. Trust me, it will fly. So, and it's beautiful. Look at that. Look at that mouse cursor. Look at it spinning. I mean, everything about this OS just oozes awesomeness. So, secure your copy if you want. Help donate to the project and help with the finances, and in return you'll get an early copy. The rest of the world, the guys that can't donate or won't donate, it's fine. You'll still get a copy, but you'll get it at the end of this month. So Core is coming out in about 2 to 3 weeks, borderlining on 2. Flash will be soon after, probably the next month, and then we'll do another Windows release, and then we'll do the Shift release. I'll be making videos on Flash, Windows, and Shift soon as well. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I know this was a long video, but there was a lot of information here, and you got to see Core, all about Core, you know. So that's always great. Anyway, that's it. That's the news from me today. Help support the project if you can. Links down below. And stay safe, and hope you guys have a great 2021. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.